The reason for the next video message of Susan Ciani is a research in the Bode archive, which Senta Hirschheider did in 2024 as part of a seminar at the HfG University of Arts, Karlsruhe, which was called Antennae, Frequencies from the Archive. The seminar ultimately led to an exhibition at ZKM last year where the research was presented. Senta discovered an ongoing dialogue between Bode and Susan Ciani about the usage, modification, and importance of the Bode vocoder to Ciani's work, and about the invention and imagination of Ciani's invention, the voiceover, which Bode should have built for her. This research and dialogue is reflected in the performance this evening as well, and now we have a short video message from Ciani herself.
Hi, I'm Suzanne Ciani, and I'm really happy to be able to be with you remotely today to talk about Harald Bode. Harald had a very big impact on my musical life. When I was in New York in the 80s, I was a recording artist, but I was an instrumental artist, and my medium was electronic music. In those days, most women in music were singers, and I couldn't sing. My music was purely electronic, and I wanted to bring a sense of sensuality to the music, and I discovered Harald's invention of the vocoder. I was very excited because I could, without being able to sing, I could bring my female voice into the texture of the music, and I used it on absolutely every album that I did. I had an idea because the original vocoder could be a little bit metallic sounding because the filter bandwidth was limited. And I wanted my breathiness, my upper frequencies to come through. And so I got hold of Harald. I met him at an Audio Engineering Society conference, and I asked him about putting a pass-through on the vocoder. This is my original vocoder, by the way, that Harald made for me. And that allowed the breathiness of my voice to pass through, and it made the sound so much warmer and so much more human to me. So also at this time, I was very active in commercial production, doing sound design and electronic music for commercials. And I had a huge following in commercials because it was an area, unlike the record business, that embraced the unusualness of what I was doing. So they wanted it because it was new and different, whereas the record companies did not want it because it was new and different. They wanted me to sing or play the guitar. In order to use my voice as an expressive controller, something that I discovered using the vocoder, I put together an assembly of units that I could use all together and called a voice box. So I had compressors and limiters and reverb and a lot of different things that I could repatch. And I used this in about 1980 on the David Letterman show. And I was introducing David Letterman to this new world of sound. And I know the first thing I mentioned was the vocoder. And I did vocode his voice.
Ladies and gentlemen, this woman standing next to me is an electronic wizard. She composed many of the soundtracks you hear on commercials. She's reproduced the electrical musical effects for the disco version of Star Wars, and she's won award after award. This is Suzanne Ciani. And what? Now that was making. She's doing odd things now.
You know, it just has a mind of its own sometimes.
Let's tell the people. Yeah. Why don't we?
This will be a little bit better, David.
Okay. Tell them what we got here. This looks like just a normal keyboard, and then all of this other stuff appears to be computers.
Well, more or less.
Pretty much it, huh?
This is a synthesizer. It's called a Prophet synthesizer. This is an arrangement of electronic gear that I call the voice box, which is used mainly for processing voices and other sounds. And it has in it a vocoder, frequency follower, an eventide harmonizer, a Marshall time modulator.
Well, that means nothing to anybody but you. Show us what kind of things you can generate out of this, and then tell us what you've, what the sounds you've used for what things and so forth.
Okay, well, the voice box is...
Okay, you're going to demonstrate right now.
Yes,
I'm just don't be afraid.
Sometimes my voice has a little bit more authority. Didn't pick up my direct voice on this. And this is my male voice.
Mm-hmm. So
this is my almost male voice.
And this is my
little girl voice.
Hi, that's amazing.
Hello.
Hello.
How much would this stuff cost?
This is great. Couple $100,000 so you can sound stupid in your own home. It's an unbelievable breakthrough in electronics.
money is not an issue here.
Okay, now...
Okay. Now, let's try this one. Can you talk into this?
Yes, I sure can. Hello.
Hello. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Hello.
Hello. What do you want me to do? One to one of the course and one of it is becoming necessary.
18.
Large pepperoni pizza. 18.
I'd also like to talk a little bit about how I use the vocoder. So I used it in my recording 7 Waves, The Velocity of Love, Neverland, and on, just to bring the sensual presence of my voice to the fabric of the sound. But I also used it with drum machines to create rhythmic patterns. So I could take a chordal pattern on a keyboard and vocode it with a drum. So not using the voice, but it would create a rhythmic drum, a rhythmic chord. So this is in the 7th wave and the last wave on 7 waves. And at the very end, I take a drum machine and I vocode it with a chordal structure. So if you're going to listen to it in the context of the piece, the kind of rhythmic. Now I'm going to play it for you separately. This is just that track. So that's a drum machine that is triggering a chord. So it's vocoding the chord. So cool. Harald and I got to meet several times because he was just in New Jersey, and he would come over, and I had an idea for a product that I thought would really help. I was working, as you know, in commercial advertising, and I was always frustrated by the fact that when it came to mixing the music track with the commercial, where they were balancing the voiceover and the music, that sometimes the music lost. It wasn't considered equal to the voice. And so I had this idea for an instrument that I thought Harald could invent, and we worked on this for a couple of years, and it's called the voiceover. So the idea is almost like I called it a negative vocoder, but it was like a blue screen for voice, so that as the voiceover was talking, it would map out a channel within the fabric of the music so that they could both be present equally and not step on each other. We never did complete this design, although he did have it drawn out and he had it all mapped out. And it looks a little bit like this. But he passed away, sadly, soon after we were working on this. So I hope that someday we can find a way to make that machine. So in closing, I'd just like to say how honored I am and how grateful I am that you're doing this work to extend the memory and the work of Harald Bode, who was such a great, great inventor, and it was such a major part of my creative life. Thank you very much.